I feel like when think back to my childhood, there was a lot of mixed messages. Like there was a lot of times when I would be in trouble for no reason. Like maybe my dad would be having a bad day and he was just stressed, and I couldn't understand that he was just venting.
Can you tell me about your
Um,
dad?
yeah, my dad. I think that if people knew my dad, it would make so much sense out of me. Um, he he's so okay. He's like basically always the coolest guy in the room. Um, he's a shorter Italian guy. I think he's 5'7" or something like that. You know, it's like a he doesn't look like Joe Pesci at all. You know, he's like skinnier and stuff. He's more Vata for sure. Uh, but you know, he tells a story where he went to a party one time and a woman said to him like, "Who are you? Like, you're somebody, right?" And he was like, "I could have been somebody," kind of thing. Um, and he definitely like uh yeah, he runs the show. It was very clear for like the whole extended family. He's like the patron, the padron. And he is very vocally critical about kind of like anybody being lazy or not pulling their weight or whatever. And so he kind of uses humor, but he's using humor to kind of keep everybody in check, if that makes sense. He's like policing.
And what do you think that you said earlier that if people like knew my dad, they'd understand you better? How does that help
Yeah.
us understand you?
I've said it. I've said it for a long time, but I don't necessarily know that I've thought about why I think it.
Sure.
Why do I think it?
Yeah. What does that tell you about us? What does that tell us about you?
Well, I've got his blood in me, and also I grew up as you know under his kind of power and authority. And if you see the way that he acts, you'll sense a tremendous amount of stress and anxiety, as well as like a loud kind of personality.
What does in what way does he act that makes you feel stress and anxiety?
He feels a lot of stress and anxiety. Like I think that all of his external stuff is just dealing with his internal state. You know, the fact that like his body system is telling him like flooding him all the time with like threat signals or whatever.
Okay.
I feel definitely consistently overwhelmed by like my body telling me that like there's something really wrong. I think he does too.
What is your body telling you is wrong?
Now?
Sure.
Dude, the world's in a bad spot. We got to do something.
Okay.
There's people suffering. I think it's 60% of people are lonely in America. So it's like 2 out of 3 or something like that. I don't know. Some crazy number.
And you feel that in your body?
I can, yeah.
What does that feel like?
Tightness in my chest. Like a kind of burning focus. It's a sense of like fire and like it's like the laser beam, right? It's a strong focused energy in a direction. And it comes with kind of like an impatience and an anger around why isn't anybody looking at this? I kind of feel that a lot.
Yeah.
My dad told me his dad was actually a union organizer, so not a union leader or whatever, but he was the guy who's in the factory saying like, what are we doing?
Yeah.
These guys are making all the money and we're getting screwed. Like, what are we doing? And he was so nuts about it that he actually fucking, right, founded a union.
Yeah. So
like that kind of feeling. I feel like I've got that in me, you know.
Absolutely. You know, when you talk about your dad, I certainly think that that's significant, but I'm still a little bit curious about how he contributed to you becoming the person that you are.
He was stressed all the time that I was not going to make it. I remember him walking around just being like, this kid's not going to make it.
He's just not going to make it?
This kid's not going to make it. I remember he would say, it's not a one-time thing. He would say that a lot. Just kind of like throwing his hands up like, this kid's not going to make it. Like, I can't protect him.
What does that do to you? What does that do to a kid?
Something.
Yeah.
Especially when I felt deep down that was not correct, right?
Mhm.
It's this feeling of there's something down here that he can't see, and nothing I fucking do will ever change that, right?
Mhm. Yeah.
How could it be that there actually is something good here and he can't see it? Like he's my, you know what I mean? How could it be? Like there must be something so wrong in the rest of me that that's what it feels like, right?
Yeah. So what have we been talking about for the past 30 or 40 minutes?
We've been talking about this.
Absolutely.
Yeah. We've
So
been talking
now
about the sense that like there's something.
so a lot of things are clicking, right? So you said that there are a couple things. One is that he can't see it. And
Yeah.
all he sees is you fucking up and forgetting your homework. And he also
Right.
lets you
Or
know
whatever it is, like random stuff.
Yeah. And that's actually a significant detail because it's not. So if it's just one thing, then you end up with some scar that you're bad at homework. You're like, oh man, I suck at school or
No.
I'm not good at studying.
No. Head
But
in
if
the
you're,
clouds, right? That kind of thing. Like an
yeah,
airhead, like doesn't
but
can't take care of
if it's
himself.
so it's multi-dimensional for him, which also means that you're not unacceptable in one way. You're unacceptable in every way.
Yeah, it's generalized. Yeah. Yes.
And then there's also something subtle, which you kind of mentioned some time ago, which we haven't really explored, but there's something that bothers you about people who clearly you're not acceptable, but they have to love you anyway.
Mm-hmm.
And that sounds like, I mean, if we had to, take that statement out of context from half an hour ago and plug it in here, it fits perfectly because we're talking about, of all people, your dad.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and it's kind of like I guess I had the sense that other people were kind of faking it.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, of course. So that I think is also completely rational for a young kid
Mm-hmm.
because you trust your parents and you sort of set your compass, like you set the gold standard based on how your parents treat you. And if the rest of the world is congruent with that, that's fantastic. And if it's not, you don't accept the rest of the world. And I see this a lot actually in cases of abuse where like when a child is taught that they're a piece of shit and then like when they're adults and like people treat them with love and care and respect, how do you think they respond?
Not well.
Why not?
Like you kind of can't believe it, right? You have to
Absolutely.
come up with a story that makes it not the simple truth. Like it can't just be that simple.
Perfect. It's fucking confusing and bewildering to them. They do not understand it at all.
Yeah.
It's so confusing.
Yeah.
And so then what they do is they start doing all kinds of weird acting out behaviors to align the relationship with what they believe about themselves.